and welcome back to My Happy Place.
I'm Miss Johanna.
And I'm Miss Trady.
And today we are in the middle of one of my favorite happy places. We are in the woods behind our house. We have lots of trees and some flowers and a little creek over there. It's just pretty amazing back here. Alright, so I don't know if you guys can hear the birds out here, but there's tons of birds. Let's listen. Can you hear that? There's tons of birds. And that goes with our story, so we're going to jump right into our story. So many years after King Solomon, which we learned about yesterday, after he died, then a new king rose up in Israel, and he was a wicked king. Him and his wife Jezebel did not follow God, did not serve God, did not want to listen to what God's word was. They wanted to do things their own way. Well, God had a special man named Elijah who loved God and followed God. He was a prophet, which means that God would tell him his word and he would deliver it to the people of Israel. Well, King Ahab and Queen Jezebel were wicked, wicked people. And they led the children of Israel away from God, and they made false gods out of rocks and stones and trees and all kinds of things, and made the children of Israel worship those gods. And they did not follow what God wanted them to do. Well, God came to the prophet Elijah and said, I need you to go to King Ahab and tell him that he is not following me, that he is making me very displeased with how he is acting. He told King Ahab that because he had displeased God, he had rejected what God had told him to do, he told him that there would be no rain in Israel until he said so. Well, this made the king very angry, and he got so upset at Elijah that Elijah fled for his life away from King Ahab and lived by a brook, which is like a little stream. God told Elijah to hide in the wilderness and that he would take care of him there. And every day, ravens brought food to Elijah from heaven in their mouths. That's so crazy. What? But there was no rain, and before long, the little brook or river that the prophet sat next to was all dried up. God then told Elijah to go and live with a poor widow and her son, even though she didn't really have any food to care for him with. When Elijah came, he said, "Share your bread and your food with me. God will give you all the food you need until it rains." Well, the widow thought, I only have enough food to make one last meal for me and my son before we're just going to sit here and wait till we die because we don't have any food. Well, it took a lot of faith for that widow to say, you know what? I believe that God will take care of me. And she made the food and she gave it to the prophet Elijah first. And just like God had promised Elijah, he took care of the widow and her son and Elijah throughout the whole time that there was no rain or food. Then finally God told Elijah to go see King Ahab. So Elijah went back to King Ahab and said, "You must choose between your false god Baal and the Lord our God. It will not rain until you do." Well, Elijah told Ahab to call all the prophets of Baal to the Mount Carmel and the people of Israel to come too. Well, for the prophet Elijah to be able to show whose God was the real true God, was it the god Baal that King Ahab and Queen Jezebel worshipped? Or was it the true God Jehovah that the prophet Elijah worshipped? Elijah said, let's have a contest. Let Baal's prophets build an altar and place dry wood on the altar and put me on it for an offering. And I will do the same thing on my altar to the God Jehovah. Then let Baal's prophets pray to Baal and call out to Baal and have him send forth fire from heaven to consume the offering. And then I will do the same on my offering. And whoever's God sends fire down from heaven to consume the offering, everyone will know that that is the true God and that we should follow him, we should serve him. Well, everybody thought, that's a good contest. We'll all know that whose God is the true God and whose God is the false God. Well, the prophets of Baal prayed loud and sang songs and shouted and danced and cut themselves even to cry out to their god Baal to get his attention so he would send fire down from heaven and prove that he was the true God. Well, they did this all day long, but nothing happened. Then Elijah called the people to come close and watch. He made an altar and put the dry wood, and the meat offering on it. Then he dug a trench, which is like a big ditch around it. Last of all, he had people pour water over the altar, which is not something you do. If you want wood to catch on fire, you don't pour water on it, right? You try to get it as dry as you can. Well, he had people come and dump tons of water on. They poured so much water on the altar that it filled up that ditch around the altar. Then Elijah prayed to God. Then, in a flash, fire came down from the sky and it burned everything up. All the wood, the offering, and the water in the trench was all gone. Then the people fell down and said, "The God Jehovah is the true God, and we should worship and follow him." Then Elijah said, "Because you have turned towards the true and living God, there will now be rain in Israel." And before long, it began to rain, and the great drought came to an end.
We're going to work on our memory verse now, and Johanna is going to do all the actions since I'm holding the camera. So let's say it together.
Psalm 1, 1, and 2. Blessed is the man that walketh not in the counsel of the ungodly, nor standeth in the way of sinners, nor sitteth in the seat of the scornful. One more time, ready? Psalm 1, 1, and 2. Blessed is the man that walketh not in the counsel of the ungodly, nor standeth in the way of sinners, nor sitteth in the seat of the scornful. And tomorrow we're going to learn the second part, well, Psalm 1, verse 2. We're going to start working on that tomorrow.
Don't forget to practice your memory verse, Psalm 1:1.
See you guys next time. Bye!